Welcome back to Wrestling Flash. If you are new, be sure to like and subscribe for more wrestling content. Without wasting any time, let's get into today's video. John Cena was the face of WWE for years. His dominance in the industry is well remembered. However, the new king these days seems to be the Universal Champion Roman Reigns, who rules the rosters with his heel character. Cena's father, John Cena Sr., is of the opinion that Reigns will never reach those heights again despite his immensely popular heel turn. He feels that Reigns is a spent force in that aspect. In an interview with Boston Wrestling, Cena's father initially praised the big dog. He also appreciated how WWE refreshed the character of Reigns and threw in Jey Uso to make it a perfect feud. It takes two, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, to make it work, and for the first time in WWE, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I thought of Roman Reigns? I was always up front with it, admits Cena. Now, I tell you what, it had to be Paul Heyman that thought about this one, and Vince McMahon, to come up with turning Roman Reigns heel. It's the best thing they ever could have done. John Cena Sr. feels that Roman Reigns was carried by the Shield. John Cena Sr. strongly believes that the Shield was not the right move for Roman Reigns as a character. He felt that Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose were the ones carrying Reigns in the entire gimmick. As far as the Shield goes, Roman was just part of a faction. The other two carried Roman Reigns. I'll be right up front with you, I think he will agree with that, because he's a very smart young man, said Cena. I think the mistake they made with Roman Reigns was, I don't like roast beef but I'm gonna shove it down your throat anyway. And that's what happened. Concluding his views on the champion, Cena feels that Reigns' days as the faster of the company are past him. Even though his heel character with Paul Heyman has taken him right back up the charts, Cena is not convinced. I think Reigns has reached a point in his life now where he's on top of the world, but as far as you and everybody else saying the face of the company, it's never going to happen again, stated Cena. You will never have the face of the company. If John Cena Sr. wants to pick a fight, now is surely not the time. Roman Reigns does not care who he wrecks and leaves, although what he says does make sense. Many may argue that Drew McIntyre may already be the new face of WWE. When Sheamus got drafted from SmackDown to Raw, there was a belief that the Celtic Warrior will be having a major showdown with the Scottish psychopath down the road. In such a case, a feud with someone like Sheamus would have been ideal for McIntyre. However, Wade Keller of PW Torch noted how the rumors regarding a possible match between the two might be untrue given how Sheamus has been booked on Raw. Good to see a tag wrestler get a win over a singles wrestler, I suppose, but between this and Sheamus losing last Friday, it really makes it seem as if there are no plans to build to a meaningful Drew vs Sheamus match. I felt like he'd be a good opponent for Drew between two bigger feuds. They can always try to rebuild him, or they'll turn him babyface, as sometimes they job out a heel before a turn. While Drew McIntyre is currently embroiled in a rivalry with the man who beat him for the WWE Championship, Randy Orton, there are no plans for him regaining the WWE title anytime soon. WWE has profited a lot from its merchandise sales. Fans love going out donning the names and brands of their favorite superstars. However, it seems WWE is done with letting people show off Sting. According to a recent report from PW Insider, the company has pulled all merchandise related to the WCW legend, and official Sting merchandise will no longer be available on WWE stores. WWE made this decision on Thursday, and the news soon reached the WWE universe. A reason has not been provided as to why this was done, but the background of it was pretty clear. WWE announced that Sting was no longer under WWE contract in May 2020. He was free from the normal contract as well as the Legends contract. This means that since he no longer has any ties to the company, WWE has no obligation or need to keep selling his merchandise on its stores. There may have also been some contractual clauses against it. WWE missed out on a lot with Sting. The franchise stayed out of WWE for the better part of his career after WCW collapsed. However, He made a blockbuster debut at Survivor Series 2014 to speak a feud with Triple H and The Authority. Sting's role in WWE featured a feud against Seth Rollins and later Triple H at WrestleMania. He came out defeated in both but still managed to make a lot of fans' dreams come true. WWE fans pushed a lot for the dream match between The Undertaker and Sting. This was pitted to be the match of ages, with two of the best in the business going at each other. However, we never got that match and never will. Sting seems to have permanently parted ways with WWE and there isn't even the slightest prospect for his return. Even The Undertaker pushed down the idea when it was mentioned in an interview. The WCW legend had several appearances in Impact Wrestling. However, his return to the sport as a whole is debatable. If he does find it in him for a showdown, it would be great to see him, that's for sure. Jey Uso and Daniel Bryan got into a brutal fight on the latest episode of Friday Night SmackDown. Bryan ended up with internal injuries following the assault, and WWE immediately rushed him to a local medical facility. Now, the company has provided an update about his condition. Following his match with Jey Uso on Friday Night SmackDown, Daniel Bryan was evaluated in the WWE trainer's room, complaining of back and lower abdominal pain. WWE Medical recommended Bryan be transported to a local medical facility where multiple imaging tests were performed and revealed a bruised kidney and multiple strains and contusions throughout his thoracic and lumbar spine. Bryan was released from the facility last night and is now convalescing at home. Daniel Bryan returned to WWE after taking time off to spend some days with his newborn baby. The in-ring altercation with Uso was the first singles match he was in after his return. He will dedicate the next couple of days to healing. If all goes well, then it is hoped that Daniel Bryan will return to the ring soon. Why did Jey Uso attack Daniel Bryan? Jey Uso attacked Bryan in order to show his cousin, Roman Reigns, that he was on the tribal chief's side. Uso attacked the returning superstar with the steel steps and a splash. This was when the WWE Universe realized that Jey Uso had turned heel. While this turn is exhilarating, Bryan being the first to experience Uso's new wrath landed him in the hospital. Roman Reigns and Jey resolve issues. In an emotional segment on the latest episode of Friday Night SmackDown, Jey Uso and Roman Reigns had a final showdown to end their storyline for now. This was not a physical fight, but a verbal one. Roman Reigns asked Jey Uso to finally bend the knee and accept Reigns as the head of the table. The tribal chief did not want to cut off all ties with his cousin. The two brothers agreed to the current situation and Uso accepted Roman Reigns as his chief. This might be the end of the rivalry between the cousins, as the WWE Universe knows it. There is no confirmation on how the company will proceed with their storyline. There has been a lot of talk regarding Raw superstar Drew McIntyre possibly facing boxing legend and WWE superstar Tyson Fury soon. The two men have been hinting at a showdown on social media by taking shots at each other constantly. Unfortunately, as per Dave Meltzer of One, while WWE is also keen on this match to take place, Tyson Fury has not yet committed to a date for the match. McIntyre has also been discussed for a major match with boxing world heavyweight champion Tyson Fury, which both have pushed in social media. We were told this week that Fury has not committed to a date for that, with Saudi Arabia not announced for later this year yet, due to COVID. That would have been the most likely place for such a bout. With Randy Orton set to feud with Edge for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 37, it would leave Drew McIntyre open for a major match. While there is no comparison between McIntyre and Fury when it comes to in-ring talent, a marquee match like this would help draw the crowd. Randy Orton beat Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship at Hell in a Cell. However, while it appeared that the feud between Orton and McIntyre would linger for long, The Fiend Bray Wyatt has already been inserted into the feud on Raw. It has been leaked that the reason behind The Fiend becoming part of the program was merely to protect Drew McIntyre from taking more clean losses at the hands of the Viper. Right now it appears Raw will be built around a three-way program with Orton, McIntyre and The Fiend. The idea of keeping McIntyre away from Orton so he doesn't continually challenge and fail, which wouldn't be good for him right now, and build to a big match when fans are back makes all the sense in the world. Except, we don't know when fans will be back. Orton getting a clean win with no storyline protection for McIntyre can tell a story, since McIntyre had 2 wins over him and Keith Lee has 1, that was never mentioned on television and has been seemingly forgotten. It's not necessarily a bad idea, and had McIntyre retained and worked with The Fiend, that's a risk given the way Fiend is very difficult to babyface against without dragging one down badly. Although Drew McIntyre being protected makes sense, The Fiend would lose credibility if he consistently keeps losing on Raw.